protocol, agent to agent protocol, which is authentication in the A2A protocol. As we know, authentication is very critical. Why? Because it is critical because we can see some scenarios happening right now. One is Visa, which is creating an AI agent app for credit card purchases. And now Microsoft, which is a competent for the Google, is supporting A2A protocol. And Visa also working with Stripe payment gateway for checking out operations to create an entire AI agentic system that will automate all the purchasing information. For this, the agent to agent app should have the customer credit card information, also the purchase history. So now we clear that the protocol, the agent to agent communication should be secure, and also the remote agent should be verifiable. I mean, we should not use any service from an untrusted remote server. Okay. Now, the authentication in agent to agent protocol, according to the implementation schema, we have the agent card that is served by the agent server, the remote server, and there is a special property called authentication in the agent card. And this special property in agent card is used to specify what type of authentication the remote server is supported. And there are mainly three main protocols that we look in today. One is open authentication, and API key based authentication, and then basic authentication, and finally the custom authentication, which is a mix of this depending on the unique scenarios you have. Now let's look into open authentication. So it's a primary method for authenticating clients and agents securely. And this is widely used when we have this open API systems, like web API systems is in place. So we have a lot of already implemented scenarios to support this. And this is working in based on bearer tokens, and that can be given into the authorization header of the post request. So in the header, we can pass this open authentication token as a bearer token property in the authorization header of the request, HTTP request. When we are posting this HTTP request, that's the one of the most supported version or most recommendable version. And lot of providers will going to support this protocol, and we have lots of libraries in JavaScript, .NET, Java, whatever be your agent ecosystem or whatever be the platform of agent ecosystem that is going to support this protocol for the business to business or business to customer scenarios. Now, API keys is another method that is used usually in the LLM apps, because we know that when we are working on an LLM application using ChatGPT, we need to get a key from OpenAPI key. If we are working with Cloud A LLM system, then we need to get an API from Cloud A. Similarly, we can have an API system from this remote agent provider, and this API key can be passed in the headers or in the request body, similar to how the normal LLM apps is working. For example, Open API key, right? Now, the third method we are going to discuss is basic authentication. This is the less secure version, and it is because of this is less secure because we need to pass the username and password, which is a static thing always in the request body. We can pass this as an encrypted one like base64 encoded, but this is still less secured because in the advancement of AI, we can decrypt these keys. Okay, so we will use this only in the scenarios of testing and prototypes, and usually we will pass the username and password in this basic authentication, and this is rarely used. The next method is a custom authentication. So we can have scenarios like we have a less important function and most business critical function, so we can combine this mechanisms like authentication mechanism. For a less secured operation, we can have an API key, but for a more secured authentication, we can have multi-factor authentication and also open authentications. And if you are passing the credentials, we can include it in the authentication.credentials properties. Now, what we have seen now is we have seen authentication is very critical, and we have to make sure authentication is properly implemented for a secure communication between remote and local agents. Plus, the remote or third party task execution agent is verifiable. In this scenario, open authentication is the most secured one and going to be widely adopted. And basic authentication we usually do for testing and POC purpose or within the enterprise application to see the initial versions of the app. Hope you understood and this concept. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you. See you with another video.